Hey everybody, welcome back to the Huddle, the Review.com's weekly high school football show. I'm Rob Toder, executive editor of the Alliance Review, joined as always by Mike Brown, our sports editor. And Mike, today let's take a look ahead to week 8. And I think really the game that is head and shoulders above everybody else is the first place showdown in the Northeastern Buckeye Conference. Marlington 7-0. Pretty much a lock for the playoffs, even if they wouldn't win another game in the season.
Right.
But they're rolling right along, and they're going to go face really a good Canton South team who's 6-1 overall and 3-1 in the league.
Right. This is going to be a great game. This may be the best game of all the games left this season. You've got Canton South with that great passing attack. I was so impressed. I got a chance to see them last week. Mr. Lyon throws a great ball for Canton South. I mean, and they have some nice receivers who can go up and get those things. They've got the good running back with Deontay Settles. And I think they've got a nice thing going on offense. And then you have Marlington, contrasting styles, the great running game, the really good defense. So we'll see what style wins out this week, Rob.
Yeah, and I think you hit on it because Marlington has such a good defense. But I don't know of another team in the NBC this year, and maybe I'm forgetting somebody, but I haven't seen a team with as good balance as Canton South. They can throw the ball, but they've also got Settle that can run the football
right.
too, and he's always a threat
Coming
out of that play action.
Yeah, he can take it the distance on any play, as can DeMonte Thomas, and hopefully Thomas will be back this week. So you've got some electrifying players that are going to be on the field Friday night at Canton South.
And very interesting. I mean, you want to say I think it could be a high-scoring game. Mm-hmm. But because that Canton South defense did get gashed a little bit by West Branch's running attack last week, and Marlington, of course, a very strong running team. So maybe Canton South's going to have to outscore the Dukes if they want to win that game.
Yeah, and that's kind of a tall task when you have to outscore Marlington with DeMonte Thomas in your backfield, but it may very well come down to that scenario.
A couple other games in the Northeastern Buckeye Conference this week. Alliance coming off their first win, and they looked really good against Salem. Mm-hmm. They're going to host Carrollton. That's always an intriguing matchup. Mm-hmm. Carrollton, again, with a good defensive football team. They shut out Louisville last week. They come in at 5-2, but Alliance getting better every week.
Right. I think these are two teams both getting better. Carrollton's a young team, and I tell you what, I think they'll be a real factor next year. But, they're playing well this year as well. But, Carrollton's coming off that big 21-0 win over Louisville. Alliance is coming off their first win over a Salem team last week at Riley Stadium. So they have to have a lot of confidence going into that. This should be a good matchup.
Yeah. Two teams still trying to get some identity. I think West Branch is still trying to figure out where they want to be. They go to Louisville without quarterback Joey Duckworth. Doesn't look like he's going to play this week either. And they're still trying to regain their identity with losing their top offensive player. So that's an intriguing game. West Branch winning last year in that matchup.
Right, and with Louisville looking to find their passing attack right now, which is the strength of their team, since they lost Duckworth, that is a huge blow because he meant so much to that team offensively. That may be the great equalizer in this game. I can't tell you who's going to win that game because West Branch has the good running attack, and Louisville's offense has kind of come down a little bit since they lost Duckworth. But the games at Louisville rarely loses a game at home. So that's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, the other NBC games, Salem really struggling. They haven't won a game, and they're going to go to Minerva. The status of Jake Riley still up in the air. They're all-star quarterback. But this game comes at a good time for Minerva.
Right, and I have a feeling, and again, this is just a guess on my part, that Riley will probably be back this week. And if he's back, that means so much to them. And they're playing in Minerva, so that's got to be a big advantage for the Lions down there.
Now, big game in the ITCL Tier 2. Western Reserve rolling along. They started out 0-2. They won 5 in a row. They're 4-0 in the league. And they will host Southern Local. And Southern, the last couple of years, has been a real good football team. They come in at 5-2, but they're 3-1 in the league. Their only loss was to Columbiana a couple of weeks ago. So Southern is always going to come at you. They're a hard-hitting team. They like to throw the ball around. Western Reserve likes to be very balanced on offense too. And obviously for Western Reserve, they need to win out if they want to get in the playoffs.
Yes, they do. In Western Reserve, this is Andy. I love Andy Hake, great coach, one of the best young coaches in Ohio. And Andy Hake, and they took 2 hits early in the year, lost 2 games, and they've roared back. They've won 5 games, and they're right in the playoff mix, but they know they need to get this win, like you said, Rob, to stay in the playoff mix. So.
Yeah, and also in the ITCL Tier 2, Sebring at home for homecoming against Leetonia, and the Trojans are looking for their first win. Mm-hmm. We've got a rivalry game in the Portage Trail Conference, Southeast hosting Waterloo. Southeast, another team, they've got to win out if they want to make the playoffs. And they can't overlook Waterloo because they've got a big game coming up with Mogador that's probably going to determine the league champion, but they don't want to overlook Waterloo.
Right. Steve Sigwart's done a good job with the Pirates again this year. You know, they're knocking on the playoff door. They're right there. They've got some key games down the road that they're probably going to have to win out to get in the playoffs, but that's not out of the realm of possibility. They can't do that. So.
Okay, a couple other games. St. Thomas going to Youngstown East. That's going to be an interesting battle for the Knights Division 5 program going up against a Division 1 program in Youngstown East. And United playing host to East Palestine in the ITCL Tier 1 this week. So a lot of good matchups. That Canton South game we're both looking forward to. I think that's going to be a great contest. Just a couple reminders. You can play Pigskin Picks every week. If you check out Monday's Alliance Review, you can play and win some great prizes each week if you predict the most wins. And also check out the review.com on after Friday's games. We'll have video of highlights of selected games, probably including that Canton South ball game for sure. Yeah. And also check out the review, the Alliance Review print edition. We'll have coverage of all the games this weekend. So we hope to see you at a game this weekend. Stop by and say hello.